The views expressed on this program are not necessarily those of the Association for Software Testing, its management, sponsors, or staff. So we have Ben Simo joining us this evening. Ben Simo was a keynote speaker today. He was around the lunch hour, and he covered Healthcare.gov. And a couple of weeks ago, Dee and I met with Ben and said, hey, is there any chance we could sweet talk you into sharing some special content just for Cast Live? And he said, sure. So we're going to kind of do this is like a double length keynote talk or something. I don't know. So, Ben, welcome.
Welcome, Ben.
Thank you for having me, Ben.
So what do you got for us tonight? I know this is going to be great. 2 Bens.
I'm just going to say Ben after every sentence I utter. Ben.
So what do you have for us tonight?
So what I have are some things I didn't cover in my talk. And in my talk, I tended to focus on how I got involved and then the security-related issues. Mm-hmm. So there's a bunch of other funkiness with Healthcare.gov, at least there was when they launched last year. So I wanted to quickly, or maybe not so quickly, go through some of those things.
Fantastic.
As some examples of some bugs.
Yay.
Or maybe not bugs.
Features? Were they features?
They might be.
Maybe.
So the first one I have here really is a feature, and it's a commentary on the design of the system. And that's when the site released. In the first week, it was reported that over 8 million people went to the site seeking information, and the site was built in such a way that you had to register first. So they created this huge bottleneck up front, which was unlike we were told it would be, because the talk was it would be like buying airline tickets online, or it would be like shopping on eBay or shopping on Amazon. And that's not quite what we got. Instead, we got upfront registration, which creates a bottleneck rather than a funnel. And a more performant design might be to allow people to see as much information as you can, estimate based on the data they provide, and then asynchronously verify, and not allow them to purchase until they actually hit or get all the needed verifications. So the way it was built, you had to register, you had to verify your identity, then you had to submit an application. Then if the application was approved and all the confirmation came back from those back-end government systems, you got to see what health plans might be available.
Yay.
And if you wanted to do a what if I had fewer people in my family and we're not insuring all of them, you get to delete your application and start a new one.
I recall hearing lots of frustration from friends about going through that process and not, and just what that was like. I just want to do some inquiries. I want to look at a few things and nothing is available, right? And a good friend of mine ended up on one of the helplines when the website crashed, and then that was even worse, So
yes, in my experience is that authentication systems tend to be your slower parts of your system.
True.
Because you're reaching out to some other session management. The other thing is now you're maintaining a session. You could provide a lot of information without even necessarily needing to maintain a logged in session and keep that data. But now that you have to do that for everything on the site.
Yeah.
They did partially address that by creating a little application that you could select some information.
It was
and
like
get
an estimator, right?
You could get an estimate, but it didn't provide enough detail to
make a buying decision.
Yes, to make a buying decision.
Yeah.
And there were others that built the same thing in less time than Healthcare.gov rolled out the same thing.
There is that.
So what's the next thing you got for us?
So the next thing, while filling out the form, I encountered and this is one example of a mandatory optional form field that is part of the application.
Mandatory optional.
Let's just stew on that for a minute, Ben.
Form field. Okay, all right. I
Yes,
got it. I think I'm with you.
Typically when you fill out some government form, they want to know your ethnic and racial background. And this was the typical thing. And they had a option with a radio button, not check boxes. on a field labeled optional as to whether you are Hispanic, Latino, or Spanish origin.
Yes.
And if you happen to select something,
and
or
it
you
even says optional
yes,
there
or
at
you
the end.
happen to arrow down in such a way that some browsers will select things from radio buttons as you use the cursor to go down. There's no way to deselect it.
Oh, so you get one shot at it.
You get one shot, and once you accidentally or purposely select something, you can't remove it. And I hit save and continue, and then we get this error that says it's a required field. But as we see, it's labeled
but yet it's optional.
Yes.
Yeah, fantastic.
Optional required fields.
Yay. That's a new kind of field.
So as testers, if it says optional, it's good to test. Is it really optional? Or can we find conditions under which it's not optional?
Nice. I like that one. Optional required fields.
Yes.
That's a good-looking page right there.
Yes. So I don't think I'm the only one that tried to look at the site on my mobile device.
Maybe.
And partially when I initially started to sign up, I was on vacation. And I thought this would be a quick thing, go get some information. I submitted my emails that were taking 3 hours, or they told me wait 3 days. So I was doing some things from my mobile phone and quickly discovered the site didn't appear to have been built to work on mobile devices.
Seems to be text over text there a little bit.
Yeah, so here's a couple examples. We had text over text, and then we have the floating header bar on the right. That as I scroll up, the header bar goes down, and as you scroll down, the header bar goes up. So in some cases, like we're seeing here, it gets in the way of selecting what you want to try and select.
It does make it a challenge, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. This isn't a really big deal, but it's kind of a fun sort of thing.
Yeah, it's a neat little bug, that's for sure.
Please wait. I tried several different applications and got them in some state that they were stuck. And a number of them reached some point that I would hit some point in the application and I would get a please wait window. Mm-hmm. And I let one of them sit there for many hours and it continued to say, please wait.
I'm doing it.
You're like, I'm waiting. What else can I do?
Yes, and I get the little pop-up that says, your session's about to time out. Would you like to click OK and extend your session? Or click cancel and your session will die soon?
Yes, I'd like to wait longer.
Yes, please.
Right?
Yes. So I turned on DevTools in my browser, and I see that there's an uncaught JavaScript exception, and it's not doing anything.
It's just
it
full
has
stop.
Stopped, and it is telling the user to wait.
I mean, can
but
you
it's
imagine
not doing anything.
Like how frustrating that had to be
Yeah,
for
if
people
you didn't know to
who
look.
just wait forever and ever, just hoping like one day it's going to go through, right?
And
like,
it never would in this case.
It never would.
Never.
Right.
No.
And you would eventually have to give up? I mean,
well, after that many hours, I got the timeout box.
and it timed you out. That's enough waiting.
Right.
Doop.
Yes. So this appeared to be a case that sometime while completing an application form, invalid data got entered. And in this case, it's complaining that the first name is null.
Nothing.
For a user. So nothing. And there's no checks in here to handle the case of first name is null. How it got in that condition, I don't know, but this application never completed. I had several get in this condition. One of them I had there I just deleted it last week and I created it in October. And I tried it at least once a month. Will it work now? Will it work now?
Hoping that they had changed this part of it and it would continue beyond. Okay,
yes.
All right.
Yes.
Gotcha.
So, from start to finish, how many applications did you try?
I lost count.
Okay.
Really?
I have many email addresses. I occasionally get text messages from Healthcare.gov that are somehow associated to those various email addresses.
Fantastic.
Okay.
Yes.
Nice. All right.
So,
Eligibility results.
Eligibility results. When it completes, it tells us that we have some eligibility results. And let's look at this. So this is when I finally got an application all the way through. After those many, many attempts, got all the way through, submitted my application, wait till the next day or so, and I get eligibility results.
Yes.
Hooray!
Yay!
You win.
I was happy to see that they were there.
Okay.
So then I open up the letter. There's a PDF attached that tells you about your eligibility. and it responds telling me I don't qualify. In this case, I was only applying for my granddaughter, and she should at least qualify for Medicaid, if nothing else.
Right, because that was the default. That was the fallback.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And but since I was, as the head of household, I suspect I make too much money if they apply mine for her to qualify there.
Right.
So I'm not sure what they did. So I got the application all the way through, and it says, you don't qualify. Maybe you need to appeal if you don't like this decision.
Nice.
So I go back to the help, and I look at what does it say are the eligibility requirements.
Okay.
It says must live in the United States.
Check.
Check.
Must be a U.S. citizen.
Got that.
And you can't currently be incarcerated.
Which is probably true.
Probably
Those are
true
all
of your
true
granddaughter.
for me and for my granddaughter.
Right, right.
So according to the eligibility requirements, we should be eligible, but it says no.
Right.
And now we're in a state that we have to submit an appeal. And soon after I hit the state, I read a news article that said that the appeals that were mailed in were just being filed.
Nice.
They hadn't yet written the software to allow manual override by the people processing the appeals of the information entered through the website.
Fantastic.
Wow.
Fantastic. So I think time flies when we're having fun.
Yes.
Oh.
I think we have time for one more.
One more.
I know. So what is your fave out of here?
Fly, 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 fly. This one.
What's the title of it?
No.
It's hard to pick a favorite.
Pick cloning children.
Cloning
children?
You can clone
can-
children?
Yes, Healthcare.gov clones
like Dolly the sheep?
children.
So is that if you have twins that are... go on.
So this is a case that I did not encounter, but I received an email from a man named Gary after he read my blog describing his frustration with Healthcare.gov.
Yes.
He was trying to, in his household, there was himself, his wife, and he had 2 sons.
Mm-hmm.
And he entered all their information, and he went to try and process or get insurance. He made it farther than I did. He got approved.
Okay.
Got to the options to enroll in plans.
Mm-hmm.
And as we can see, at least I can see on the screen,
Yes.
the top line, it lists the people in the family: Virginia, Gary, Matthew, and Kevin.
Correct.
Those are the people he told it was in his household.
With a missing
And then we have options, yes, to select insurance plan 1 and 2. The first one for Virginia, Matthew, Kevin, and Gary, and the second one for Kevin.
Oh.
But then we go to actually select. If we look on here, it says he has Kevin, Kevin, and Kevin, and Kevin, Kevin, and Kevin.
What?
That's fantastic.
That he could only select and sign up for his 6
All with missing
sons,
commas.
Kevin.
Name's
Yes.
Kevin.
Yes.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Wow.
I love it. So I guess if there was one lesson learned from all of this, what would it be? Just one.
Test
With
your brain.
Get people
and
in
if
there.
you are testing and using your mind and exploring and looking for things that may be a problem rather than just what the specification says it should do, you may potentially find these sorts of issues. And it's possible that people found these sorts of issues and reported them, and maybe they failed to make the good case for it, or maybe management ignored them.
Right.
But what we do see is the end result, where we're cloning children and people can't sign up for insurance.
And you're
we're
required to
frustrating
answer
a lot of
optionals.
people trying to give them a new government benefit.
Yep. Indeed. Well, thank you for joining us tonight. We really appreciate you sharing this extra special material for us, and hopefully this can continue. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
All right.